Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis hit third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Kansas City Royals in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Padres, right-hander Michael King, and for the Royals, left-hander Cole Ragans. Hi again, everyone, and good morning on this Sunday. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch in Kansas City is coming up at 11:10 a.m. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, you'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt and a few Padres players. And in just a few minutes, we'll check in with Tony Gwynn Jr. in Kansas City. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside. Padres entered today with a record of 32-29. They are 3 games above 500 for the very first time this season. Padres have won 8 of their last 10 series and are 18-12 in their last 30 games. Padres, though, have a chance today to do something they haven't done yet this season, and that is sweep a series. Meanwhile, the Royals are 35-25. They currently sit in second place in the American League Central behind the Cleveland Guardians. Royals got off to a really good start this season, obviously still 10 games above 500, but they have now lost 6 of their last 7 games. Before we turn our full attention to this series finale in KC, let's take a look back.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Yesterday at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Fernando Tatis Jr. had a big swing in the first.
1 out and nobody on, just underway. The 2-1. And Tatis swings, hits it in the air to deep center field. Blanco's back, still going back on the warning track at the wall. Looking up, gonna go! Home run, Fernando Tatis Jr. Number 10 on this season, and a solo shot to give the Pods a 1-0 lead here in the first.
Fast forward to the top of the 4th inning, Padres down 3-2 at this point. The bases were loaded for Ha-Sung Kim.
2 balls and a strike the pitch, and Kim hits it in the air to left center field. Blanco back into the gap on the run, not going to get there. Going to end up around the base of the wall and going to clear the bases. Kim stops at second. All 3 come in to score. A bases clearing double for Ha-Sung Kim, and the Padres are back in front. It's 5-3.
Padres still had that 5-3 lead heading to the 9th inning. Kyle Higashioka gave the Padres some breathing room.
1-0 pitch is swung on, hit in the air to deep left field. Hampson back towards the corner, on the move at the wall. It's going to go! Home run for Higashioka. Tucked it inside the left field foul pole. Second hit of the day for the Padre catcher, and San Diego now in front 6-3.
It was not a save situation, but the Padres brought Robert Suarez in for the bottom half of the 9th.
1-0 pitch is hit on the ground to second base. Should be it. Cronenworth has got it. The throw to first in plenty of time, and the ball game is over. Suarez comes out to close the door. Padres beat the Royals 7-3. They have won another series, and here tomorrow afternoon they will go for the sweep.
Randy Vasquez was solid in his emergency start with Joe Musgrove going on the IL earlier in the day. He picked up the win after going 5 innings and allowing 3 runs. Padres bullpen did a great job. 4 scoreless innings combined between Adrian Morejon, Jeremiah Estrada, Wandy Peralta, and Robert Suarez. And the Padres winning the first 2 games of this 3-game series in Kansas City. They go for their first sweep of 2024 here today. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10, let's go to Kansas City.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go to Kansas City. Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us as we get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network. And Tony, let's take a look at some of the Padres hitters in this lineup here today. Let's begin with Fernando Tatis Jr. in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak, 3 hits yesterday. And I got to give you credit because you were talking about it during the last homestand, the signs of Fernando maybe coming around. When you look at what Fernando's done the last week or two, what have you seen?
He's limit the chase, and for him, I think that's everything. When Toddy's not chasing, whether it's pitches in off the plate or the soft stuff away, he's now getting more pitches to attack in that rectangle that we see on our TV screens. And his swing, I thought in that last series against Miami, seemed to kind of really, lock in, if you will. And he's been able to carry it over into this series against the Royals. And it's coming at a good time. I think the Padres' offense is in need of one of the big guys kind of starting to pick it up a little bit. And Toddy, it's showing a lot of signs that could be him.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch lately. The home run yesterday. We'll see what Fernando does here today. Let's talk about a guy in the lineup today for the Padres as well. Donovan Solano. Tony, this guy has been really, really productive since joining the Padres. What have you enjoyed about watching Solano so far?
His style, his approach, I should say, really fits in with what this team does well. And that's why it was such a good signing, really, to bring him on. He handles left-handed pitching. That checks a box of something the Padres haven't done well this season. The type of at-bat he puts together fits in with the likes of a Profar, a Merrill, an Arise, where you're going to see a quality at-bat. And
right.
So he's fit in really nice. It's been one of the pieces that I think complements what this roster already has, and it's shown well so far. I'm
going to continue down the lineup here because I think there are a number of other guys to discuss here. Ha-Sung Kim, swinging the bat better as of late. Obviously, the production offensively, at least the first couple of months of this season, overall, it has not been what it was last year, but he started to swing the bat better. What are you seeing from Ha-Sung?
It seems like his swing is shortened a little bit. He's kind of back to the gap-to-gap guy he was last year. We saw him hit a lot of balls into the right center field gap last year. It was kind of part of, what he did so well last year. He used the middle of the field and he drove the baseball. In this series here in particular, you've started to see that again. Saw him split the alley twice a couple nights ago. He just is having better at bats, and he's not chasing as well. And I just think he's shortened up. It doesn't look like he's trying to do as much, and some good results have followed.
Let's finish up the lineup here by looking at Luis Campusano. He's going through a tough stretch right now. 0 for his last 21. Really, you look at the last few weeks, it's been really quiet for Luis. I think in a way that we haven't quite seen over the last couple of years because, Tony, for the most part, he's been so productive with the bat. What are you seeing from Luis Campusano right now, and how does he get things turned around?
Just looks a little out of sorts in his timing, and it's a little bit seems like a lot of head movement right now as he's taking swings. And when you're catching as much as he's catching, you're trying to balance your body, you're trying to balance what the game plans are, and also trying to manage your swing. So it's part of the reason why you don't see a lot of catchers having a ton of success offensively. And I think right now he's trying to balance that. Yeah. And there's a lot of time in the year for him to kind of get it going or figure it out. But this is part of the ups and downs you have as a young catcher at the big league level.
Tony, good stuff on the lineup. We'll see how these guys do today against the left-hander and Cole Reagans. And as we know, the Padres have had some trouble against lefties this season. Before I let you go, I just wanted to revisit where you were a week ago in Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame East-West Classic. And I bring it up because we have MLB Network on here in the studio. I don't know if you've seen whatever they're airing right now, but it looked like they put together a full show here, I think. And I just saw a clip of you laughing laughing with Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder. I know you hit the home run during the game. Yeah, they just got back from commercial. They're showing more. So I look forward to seeing this with the sound on. But looks so fun. Go ahead.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. You're actually pulling me away from being able to watch it right now. And so at some point, I'm going to get off this with you. I'm going to hit play on my iPad and pick up where I left off, because I am, like everybody else, am dying to see this swing that I have, because I haven't seen it yet either.
Me too. All right, so quickly, just revisiting that weekend. Now that you're a week removed, how special was that for you in Cooperstown?
It was awesome, and I think today, right now, everybody's going to get a chance to kind of see how special that day was for not just me, but for all of us. I mean, any chance you can be around some of the guys that played before us, including a few of the guys who played in the Negro Leagues, and it came out on a week that the Major League Baseball was bringing in all of those statistics that they have found. I just think it's a it was a really eye-opening experience, and it's one that I'm extremely proud I got to be a part of.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and I'm going to let you go watch it right now, because it looks like a great show right now, and I look forward to watching it with the sound on in full as well. Tony, appreciate the time, and I'm looking forward to this swing. I want to see this swing. I'm hoping they got it in there. Tony, thank you for the time, and we'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at the top of the hour. All right, that is Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us from Kansas City, Missouri, as we get ready for today's game on the Padres Radio Network. Yeah, they're showing what looks like a really well-done show on MLB Network right now. We have it on here in the studio, and certainly encourage you to tape it or find out when they're airing it again, because really looking forward to seeing all the different swings from this game. We saw a great shot with Tony and Ryan Howard and Prince Fielder all laughing just a little bit ago. So looks like a really cool show they put on from the game that Tony was a part of up in Cooperstown last weekend. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, and much more to come as we get ready for today's series finale in Kansas City. First pitch coming up at 11:10 on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City. Still a lot to do between now and first pitch. We'll tell you who's hot, who's not coming up in just a little bit. And we'll also hear from a couple of Padres today. We'll hear from Randy Vasquez a little bit later in this segment, revisit his start yesterday, what he had to say after the game, and I talk with Jake Cronenworth a little bit later as well. First, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Day game after a night game, so no pregame media availability for Mike Shildt this morning, but let's revisit what Mike had to say after yesterday's win. Here was a little bit of what Mike Shildt had to say after a 7-3 win in Kansas City.
Team win for sure. Contributions from a lot of people. Typically starts on the mound, and our man Randy was solid through 5. Able to score early on Toddy's blast, I'm sure we'll get to in a minute. But, Randy was able to get out and gave it a couple early and then right the ship and be able to get through 5. And he did his part to keep the lead. So I turned over to the bullpen, which did a really, really, really good job.
That was Mike Shildt talking about yesterday's game. Let's hear a little bit more about yesterday's game. The bullpen was really good for the Padres, 4 combined scoreless innings. And really, if you just take out the 9th inning troubles for Stephen Kolek on Friday night, the bullpen continues to be really, really solid. Here was Mike Shildt on the bullpen's work so far in this series.
A couple things. Done a great job. You high leverage. It's a competitive game. So, we've been going and playing to win, obviously, and we're able to get the first 2. We've gone out there and used our guys like we typically use them to bring it home. Today, another guy stepped up and more at home. Good for Adrian. He comes out and he's done a nice job this year pitching in different situations, but now he's graduated pitching with that lead in the 6th and was able to get a clean 6th and grab some with the 7th and question about, Jeremiah came in and got his guy to finish the 7th, and then Wandy picked up Jeremiah in the 8th. I knew he could go back out based on his workload, but they threw some good at-bats on him and just got to a point where we got to 32, felt like that was enough, and it was a good opportunity for Wandy to come in and got his guy. And, 4-run leads, kind of like a 3-run lead, especially with 3-batter minimum now with your closer. He's going to be hot anyway. And then where they are in the order, we weren't going to mess around with that part of the order. So Suarez comes in and closed it out.
One thing the Padres also did very well yesterday was adding on insurance runs. Padres got a couple of runs late, including a home run from Kyle Higashioka. Here was Mike Shildt after the game talking about the Padres scoring late.
Just added on, good at bats. They did answer, we scored, but we just kept going and kept taking, tremendous at bats. Guys just doing their part and letting the next guy in line do their part. It's good to see Toddy drive that ball to right center. We say he's got a little swag back, so that's always good. And Kimmy, let's talk about this guy. Big at bat, gets us right back after they score. Ball in the gap for the triple, hustle triple, then drives another ball in the gap, clears the bases, and the play made in the 7th, the play in the 9th, huge plays. Those are huge outs, relative to where we are in the bullpen and making sure we can bring it home and. Not having turned that lineup over, he made just 2 Gold Glove caliber plays.
We mentioned Kyle Higashioka, the home run late in yesterday's game. It had been a struggle for Higashioka the last handful of weeks before yesterday, so very good to see Kyle contribute yesterday. Here was Mike Shildt on Higashioka.
Yeah, good for Higgy. It's he's had good at bats. First of all, he called a great game again. He's done a nice job behind the plate. As has Campy, but I did another nice job on the plate. But he's had good at bats. The ball he drove to right center was another good at bat. He's got some barrels on balls, and then he roped the ball down the left field line, and he held him to a single, and then put a good swing for the insurance run in the 9th for the homer. So good day all around for Higgy. So like you said, it's a big team contribution today.
Luis Campusano back in the lineup for the Padres today, so we'll see what Campy does doing the catching today in this series finale. Let's stay on yesterday's game because Randy Vasquez did a really good job yesterday. 5 innings, 3 runs given up, and it's really been the second start in a row here in the major leagues where Vasquez has done a really nice job. Remember, despite giving up 10 hits in Atlanta now almost a couple of weeks ago, remember, he did go 6 innings, give up just 3 runs against a very good lineup. So you look at the last couple of outings, on the road in Atlanta, on the road in Kansas City, and also, as you'll hear in a second here, considering the circumstances with yesterday's game, he got in really late the night before, had to make the start in place of Joe Musgrove. It all happened really quickly and really last minute. So when you consider all that, you have to be impressed with what Randy Vasquez did yesterday. Here was Randy Vasquez inside the Padres clubhouse yesterday alongside interpreter Pedro Gutierrez.
Congratulations, Randy. I imagine it was a very long day, but a good day. How do you feel?
Felicidades antes que nada. Suponen que fue un día muy largo para ti, es un día muy largo para ti, pero ¿cómo te sientes?
Me siento súper bien, gracias a Dios, agradecido de Papá Dios y agradecido del equipo por darme siempre la oportunidad de siempre estar aquí apoyándole y ayudándole en lo que yo más pueda.
Well, I'm just very happy and I'm grateful toward the organization, grateful towards the team that I get this opportunity to help out. Things worked out and also we'll pick up the win and everything came out good for us.
Do you feel like there's been a difference, the Atlanta start and this one, in terms of how comfortable you're getting and how you're throwing?
¿Te sientes un poco más tal vez con confianza, tomando en cuenta los buenos resultados en Atlanta y la buena salida de hoy también?
Sí, me siento más confiable, sí, de mi staff. Y también, gracias a Dios, le doy pues siempre darme la capacidad para yo mejorar el día a día.
Well, I do feel a whole lot more comfortable with my arsenal, my stuff, my pitches, and I'm just grateful that I've been able to have these good results and things I've been able to work out, but I'm just happy to be able to contribute.
2 big guys went on the injured list today. You are going to be a big part of making up for them. Like, how important do you think it will be for you to continue to pitch like this?
Lesionado Darvish, lesionado Musgrove, 2 pitchers importantes. Tú vas a ser una pieza vital para poder fortalecer el pitcher de San Diego. ¿Cómo te sientes con esa oportunidad?
En realidad me siento un poquito mal porque nadie quiere que le pase nada a un compañero de equipo, pero yo voy a seguir dando la cara y lo voy a apoyar y siempre voy a hacer lo mejor para el equipo y ayudar a ganar juegos.
Well, it's obviously a little bittersweet because you don't want anybody to get hurt and you don't want to get these opportunities this way, but at the end of the day I have to contribute, come and do my job, raise my hand, and I'm able to have this opportunity to come and help out the team win.
Did you fly in today, and what was your travel schedule like to get here for the start?
¿Volaste hoy a la ciudad o cómo estuvo el vuelo que tuviste?
No, ayer yo volé y llegué en la madrugada al hotel y me dormí y descansé para dar la mejor impresión de mí.
Well, I was able to fly in late last night. I got in real late to the hotel, but I did get a good night's sleep, so I was able to rest up and be ready for today.
That was Randy Vasquez inside the Padres clubhouse yesterday after a really nice start. 5 innings, 3 runs given up alongside interpreter Pedro Gutierrez. And as you heard at the end there, Randy getting in very, very late the night before yesterday's start. So good job by Randy. And look, Randy Vasquez with both Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove now on the IL. It figures that Randy Vasquez is going to get some opportunities here to start. So we'll see how Randy does. Last 2 have been pretty solid. So looking forward to seeing what Randy Vasquez does in the days and weeks to come. Sam Levitt with you here inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City. Padres going for a series sweep. It would be their first of the year. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We take a look at the hot category. Let's focus on a couple of Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. batting .379 in a 7-game hitting streak. He had 3 hits yesterday. Luis Ariz had a base hit yesterday, finished the day with a National League best .340 batting average in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak right now, batting .379 in that span. Donovan Solano, 9 for 17 in his last 5 games, batting .395 in 43 total at-bats with the Padres so far far this season. He's been very good and back in the lineup once again here today. For the Royals, we take a look at the hot category. Bobby Witt Jr. batting .393 in his last 13 games, a span of 56 at-bats. In the not category, we take a look at Luis Campusano back in the lineup today. It's been tough for Campy lately. 0 for his last 21, just 3 for his last 39, going back a span of 12 games. Really the first time in the last couple of seasons where Luis Campusano has really had a prolonged stretch of struggling. So we'll see if Campy can break out of it here today. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll hear from Jay Cronenworth. We also have our keys to the game. And coming up a little bit later, we take a very deep dive into our pitching matchup, a good one here today between right-hander Michael King and left-hander Cole Ragans. We continue our pregame coverage after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City. Padres going for a 3-game sweep of the Kansas City Royals. You may have heard Tony Gwynn Jr. and I talk a little bit earlier about his experience in Cooperstown last weekend and his home run last weekend in the East-West Classic Hall of Fame game, a really, really great event up in Cooperstown that Tony was a part of last weekend. So you may have heard us talking about his home run, and we've talked about it a bunch here, I think, on the station over the last week, the home run. Well, we were all waiting for video of the swing, and I can tell you in the last 15 minutes, MLB Network has put out a video, and it may have been on the show earlier. We didn't quite catch it here in the studio, but the show we were watching with the sound off on MLB Network, it shows the swing, and I got to say, Tony Gwynn Jr., what a sweet swing. The home run, beautiful Beautiful. You get them rounding the bases. So go to the MLB Network Twitter. I just retweeted it as well. It's Sammy Lev, Sammylev. Good for Tony. What a nice swing. And what a moment in Cooperstown for Tony last weekend. As we get ready for Padres baseball on this Sunday morning here in America's finest city, let's update you on the injuries for the Padres and the Royals entering this series finale.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Obviously, the big news yesterday, the Padres putting two of their key starting pitchers on the IL in the same morning. Joe Musgrove put on the IL with right elbow inflammation. Yu Darvish put on the IL with a groin strain. And we saw Randy Vasquez start yesterday, and now the question becomes who will take Darvish's spot in the rotation on Tuesday against the Angels in Anaheim. So we'll see what Tuesday looks like, but that was the big news yesterday. Both Darvish and Musgrove going on the 15-day IL. As far as the Royals, they did have a roster move earlier today. Remember when Michael Wacha, really early in his start on Friday, got hit in the foot with a comebacker? Well, it turns out Wacha has a fracture in that left foot. So Michael Wacha went on the IL earlier today. The corresponding move for the Royals was Daniel Lynch, left-hander recalled from AAA Omaha. So how about that? When Michael Wacha got hit in the foot the other day, he actually fractured his left foot, so he's going to be out for a little bit, and he did end up pitching into the sixth inning on Friday with what was actually a fracture in that left foot. So that was the injury news earlier today for the Royals. Really nothing affecting today's game because Daniel Lynch will take Wacha's spot in the rotation. But that's the update. Starting pitching injuries, 2 for the Padres, 1 for the Royals in this series. And we'll see how the Padres fill the Darvish rotation spot on Tuesday. And for now, Randy Vasquez taking that Joe Musgrove rotation spot in the Padres starting rotation, as the Padres will have to figure things out in the next few weeks here with 2 of their very, very important starting pitchers, Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove, now on the IL. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have a number of games going on right now. A's in Atlanta against the Braves, no score there. Tigers and the Red Sox in Boston, no score there. First inning. Twins ahead of the Astros, 2-1 in Houston in the second. Diamondbacks and the Mets just underway in New York, no score there. Rays and the Orioles, no score in Baltimore, first inning there. Pirates and the Blue Jays, scoreless first inning in Toronto. Rangers and the Marlins in Miami, no score, just underway. Nationals and the Guardians also just underway in Cleveland, first inning there. Game still yet to begin. White Sox in Milwaukee against the Brewers at 11:10. Reds and the Cubs in Chicago at 11:20. Yankees and the Giants in San Francisco at 1:05. Angels and the Mariners in Seattle at 1:10. Rockies in LA against the Dodgers at 1:10. And later on today, Cardinals and the Phillies in Philadelphia at 4 p.m. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have much more on those games coming up later during our post-game show. Well, earlier this week at Petco Park, I chatted with Jake Cronenworth inside the Padres clubhouse. And you'll hear during this conversation, we touch on a number of different topics, but we talk extensively about Jake now playing second base pretty much every day. Remember, since the injury to Xander Bogaerts, Jake has now gone from this team's everyday first baseman to all of a sudden now he's back at second base. So we talk about that. We talk about some of the fun things going on in the clubhouse. Here was my conversation earlier this week with Jake Cronenworth. Jake, before we get to anything baseball related, I want to ask you about this soccer game of sorts that I just saw you playing with athletic trainer Ricky Huerta. Can you tell me what's going on here? It looks like a soccer game you play with your fingers.
Yeah, it's a Bino board. It's actually a company in Phoenix, and I got it. Just something to have fun with in the clubhouse during some downtime, and beat up on some people in finger soccer.
Finger soccer, I like it. Who won the match between you and Ricky?
I did. Yeah, Ricky's never beat me. There's a lot of people. I've won almost every match outside of a few, so.
All right, Jake Cronenworth, not only an excellent first baseman, second baseman, but the finger soccer also elite at that. As far as, and this is a good segue into this question, I mean, we see guys in here all the time, playing cards or playing ping pong. How important is that kind of stuff throughout the rigors of a baseball season?
Yeah, I think, little games are always fun. It helps keep you relaxed in our downtime that we have here at the field, and still obviously competitive and keeping that edge, and just having a fun time when we're, before we have to lock in for the game.
A recent development for you has been playing second base. It's been almost every day the last week or so. Obviously, you started the season playing first base. That's where you played most of last season. With the injury to Xander, what has it been like now transitioning to playing second almost every day here?
Yeah, it's just getting re-comfortable, going out there and getting my prep work in and just making sure that kind of dust off the books on the shelf a little bit. Just get re-comfortable over there. It's been a position I've been familiar with, but just been away from it for a little bit. So
you make it look easy, but is it difficult to do that after playing first base every day for so long?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's different angles you got to take to the different balls, and some different throwing angles, and obviously double play turns and some other things that are intricate towards second base. But yeah, just kind of getting readjusted over there.
What about the double play turn in particular? Because that's one of the most difficult aspects, I would imagine, of playing second base. How do you reacclimate to doing that?
Yeah, just, obviously don't want to throw your arm out doing a bunch of double plays, but just working on your transfer more or less, and, just being quick and simple, and just giving Louis over there a good throw.
Jake, appreciate the time as always. Good luck with the baseball career and the finger soccer career as well. The Bino board, I learned it's called. Appreciate the time as always today. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sam.
Good stuff with Jake Cronenworth earlier this week inside the Padres clubhouse. Cronenworth back in the Padres lineup here today, playing second base, batting sixth in the Padres order here today. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City, let's give you our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Let's get to a couple of quick keys before we get to my third key, which is going to be a soliloquy, if you will. See how I rhyme there? Key, soliloquy. Sunday morning. We're having fun. Key number one, the Michael King changeup. We'll get more into Michael King during our next segment, during our pitching preview, but Michael King has allowed just a 145 opponent batting average against his changeup this year. Only two pitchers in baseball have allowed a lower batting average on a changeup this season. So when Michael King has that changeup really working, that's when he's at his best. So that is key number one. The Michael King changeup, making that as effective as possible here today against this Royals lineup. Key number two, handling Vinny Pasquantino. You hear about the Royals, you hear a lot about Bobby Witt Jr., you hear a lot about Salvador Perez, and rightfully so. But this guy, Vinny Pasquantino, he's a good hitter. He fell a triple shy of the cycle yesterday, had 7 hits and 15 at-bats over his last 3 games. Also 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in that span. So we saw yesterday Pasquantino come out a big spot late in the game against Jeremiah Estrada. Estrada struck him out. Really a big moment in yesterday's game. Padres have done a fairly good job at limiting the damage he can create. Handling Pasquantino once again here today. That's key number 2. So a couple of quick keys there. Now the big key, and this is key number 3. Hit a tough lefty. Royals left-hander Cole Ragans has not just had a good season to this point, but he's been particularly good against right-handed hitters. Righties are hitting just .215 against him this season, and the cause of that, really a combination of that four-seam fastball and changeup that Ragans has. Opposing hitters are batting just .164 against the four-seamer, just .230 against his changeup. So that's part of the story today, but another part of the story when you talk about facing Cole Ragans, a lefty, is the Padres' continued struggles against left-handed pitching this season. Padres are still hitting just .224 against left-handed pitching this season. That ranks 26th out of all the major league teams. Remember, the Padres were a top 5 team in that category last season, a collective .271 batting average against lefties. Even to start this week, the Padres faced 3 left-handed starters in that Marlins series. They only got 5 runs against those guys in 16-plus innings. They did a good job against this Padre lineup. So the biggest key here today, we've seen the Padres offense do great things the first 2 games of this series. Can they keep doing it against the lefty here today? Can they figure out a lefty in Cole Ragans? That's key number 3. A big key in this one as the Padres go for a 3-game sweep in Kansas City. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game. We have maybe an interesting scenario late in the game here today. I'll tell you more about that when we come back. And we also break down our starting pitching matchup between Michael King and Cole Ragans. First pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City. I'm Sam Levitt on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 11:10 in Kansas City. We go out to Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. in just about 6 minutes as the Padres go for a series sweep today at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. San Diego County Toyota dealers are proud partners of the Padres and supporters of the San Diego community, and we would like to especially recognize and honor the men and women who serve our country on this Military Sunday. Thank you, and go Padres. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
A very, very important thing to watch in today's game. Who is used at the back end of the Padres bullpen? Robert Suarez has pitched in 2 consecutive games. He threw 18 pitches yesterday, just 6 pitches on Friday, but he was up a couple of times before ultimately coming into the game on Friday. Jeremiah Estrada has pitched in 2 consecutive games. He threw 32 pitches yesterday. And finally, Wandy Peralta has pitched in 2 straight games as well. So if it's a close game late or just in general, who are the Padres going to in their bullpen if Suarez and Estrada and Peralta are all unavailable? That is a big deal today. That is something to watch in today's game. Who do the Padres go to in their pen, especially in a close game? We're going to find out. Keep an eye on that here today. Think about that as this game goes along. Now let's dive into our pitching matchup between Cole Ragans and Michael King.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Left-hander Cole Ragans on the mound for Kansas City. The 26-year-old is 4-4, a 3.36 ERA this season. 12 starts, 67 innings. He struck out 83. His 83 strikeouts rank 3rd in the AL. Last start earlier this week in Minnesota, 5 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 8 hits allowed. He had 2 scoreless outings of 6 and 7 innings against the Tigers and the A's before that last one in Minnesota. Like we said earlier, Ragans has been really tough on righties. Righties hitting .215 against him, lefties at .314. This will be his first career start against the Padres. On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. The 29-year-old is 4-4 with a 4.09 ERA in 12 outings this season. He's given up 13 home runs, the most of anyone in baseball. His last start earlier this week against the Marlins, 5 innings, 1 run, 1 home run allowed. 5 career appearances and 2 starts against the Royals, 12 innings total, a 4.50 ERA. His final start of last season with the Yankees came against the Royals in Kansas City. Went just 4 innings and allowed 3 home runs, including one to MJ Melendez, who's in the Kansas City lineup here today. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup between Michael King and Cole Ragans. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Padres going for a 3-game sweep in Kansas City today. We'll see if they can do it. When we come back, Jesse Ackler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.